All right, all right. Wonderful view of the door. I'm sure everyone's thrilled with that. Chat's working. Brad, Christopher, good to see you. All right. Product placement. Get the dome up there a little bit higher. We got to get to 1,000 subscribers. I got to be able to go back to the iPad. All right. Let's go Tiger. No, let's not go Tiger. This wasn't a pick I made on here. I made it on Daily Wager yesterday. Jason Day over Tiger Woods in the first round. Had a lot of great reasons why that was going to be a good pick. Watch them start today. Woods has to start on 10, so he has the much tougher start. He gets through the first three, even par, looking good. Then he starts to light it up. Day, meanwhile, bogey, then a birdie, more bogeys. Where is he even at right now? I stopped checking. I didn't even get 9 holes into this matchup, and I love golf matchups. They're some of my favorite bets. I didn't even get 9 holes in before I packed it in on this. Woods is 4 under, so I'm dead. Man, he looks good. Day's back to even. Great. All right. Welcome in. We got a lot to get to here. We are going to do Thursday night football. We're going to do some college plays, and we got a fight on ESPN Plus Saturday night, Terence Crawford versus Kell Brook. So we're going to talk about that at the end as well. So here's where I want to start, because anyone who's followed this for a while, or even if you're new, you know that I'm not ever going to try to fudge the numbers or anything like that. I don't hold myself out to be a professional gambler. I've been doing this a long time, writing about it, talking about it. I've been betting forever. Time to fade. You're exactly right. I'm in the midst of one of the all-time most epic cold streaks, and I knew it was cold. I just refused to. I have the overall number, and then I have each show's number, but I didn't want to go back and track like how cold I had been. So today's the 2-week mark of when the cold stretch started. It was 2 weeks ago. I remember specifically because that night it was the Falcons and the Panthers. And I was going into dinner. Anyone who's ever been to Vegas, Henderson is the South End. I live in Henderson. I'm over at Green Valley Ranch with the missus. We're going to dinner at Hank's Fine Steaks and Martinis. They do have fine steaks and they do have martinis. I can confirm both of those things. So we're walking in, and as we're walking in, there's TVs on the blackjack tables and all that stuff. Wearing masks, everything was safe. We go past, and I see Caroline is leading the game, and we were getting ready, I believe, to kick off in Colorado State, Fresno State, which Colorado State I really loved. So I go and I have dinner. No phone, no social media, no TVs, nothing at dinner. And I've been trying to get off social media just in general lately. That's a rant for another day. Anyway, I come out, and everything goes to hell in the Panthers game. Everything goes to hell. Colorado State gets rolled. I think I went 0-4 that night. The point I'm getting at is that's when the cold streak started. I had been hot for a couple weeks leading into it, got us above 500. We were something like 63-59 or something like that. 62-59, don't quote me. Since then, all right, we were 0-5 on Monday night. So that's the quick recap. The Monday stream, we had Ohio minus 27 against Akron. Akron covered. The Miami, Ohio, Buffalo over. That didn't hit. The closing the New Orleans teaser with the under in the Patriots-Jets game, that was a mess. The under in the Patriots-Jets game, a huge mess. And then Cam Newton under 27.5 passing attempts, 0-5. There was a 6th bet. It was Bubba Watson to finish in the top 20 at the Masters. That one hasn't concluded yet. It's pending. My apologies to Bubba in advance before he even gets rolling at Augusta. The mush is on. Point being that after going 0-5 Monday, the last 2 weeks, I am now 9-35 over my last 44 picks. 20%. 20%. Any monkey or dog, or I won't even say dolphin because dolphins are too smart to pick at 20%. But you know what? Monkeys are pretty smart too. And everyone loves dogs. I shouldn't insult anything like that. What's something everyone hates? I don't know. Needles. You know what? I don't even know where I'm going with that. Point being, Absolutely. I don't know if I've ever run this cold before. There's a time when I was living here in Vegas. I want to say it was 2012, where I started off at a really bad opening weekend for the NFL. And I dug a huge hole. And I said to myself, I'm going to spend the whole week studying very hard. I'm going to work very hard on this. I'm going to climb out of this hole. And I found 9 college football games I really liked that Saturday. And that was how I was going to start climbing out of the hole. I went 0 for 9. 0 for 9 on those picks. I got blown out. I blew leads. I had leads blown against me. I missed field goals to win. I watched other teams that I bet against make field goals to win. Every way you could lose, bad beats, good beats, you name it. Every way you could lose, I lost that day. That's the coldest streak I can remember until now. These picks, 9 and 35. So I want to make it very clear I don't run from that sort of thing. Put it out in the open, laugh at it. An example of why you gamble responsibly. Kids have to go to public school. I want them in public school to begin with, but it wouldn't be the end of the world with this streak anyway, because you gamble responsibly, all right? Treat it like blackjack, treat it like the movies, money you can afford to lose. Will they ever kick you off Daily Wager? Probably. You got to figure that's coming at some point. Oh, speaking of which, for the Bay Area people, for everyone at large, but for the Bay Area, I'm co-hosting with Freddie Coleman tonight on ESPN Radio. So if you're into that sort of thing, your boy's making his return to the airwaves, radio airwaves. I'm doing Daily Wager today. I'm doing Bet right after that. Then I'm racing home, 9 Eastern to 1 a.m. Eastern. I'm on co-hosting with Freddie Coleman tonight. So your ESPN affiliate, whoever it is, if they're airing it, you can catch it tonight and tomorrow. Back-to-back, 2-night run for your boy with Freddie Coleman. So it'll be 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. 4-hour show. All right. Where are we at? We got through all that. Tonight, let's start with Colts Titans. The weather doesn't look to be a concern. 51 degrees or so at kickoff. 0 to 5% chance of precipitation, according to weatherchannel.com. 1 to 2 mile an hour winds. So we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. That's number one. Number two, injuries. Pretty clean injury report coming into tonight's game. Jack Doyle, tight end for the Colts, he's out. Mo Alley Cox, another tight end, questionable. Designations, announcements will be coming out about 90 minutes before game time. For Tennessee, cornerback Adoree Jackson's not going to play tonight. They were hoping to have him back for this one. So there you go. Those are the injuries as of now. It's not a massive report. We're not doing a 49ers game, which we could do an entire live stream on the damn injury report. See what's going on here. Boom, boom, boom. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. If we get to 1,000, I can go back to the using a handheld device. What do they call them? Personal devices? I feel like I should know this, and I don't. I'm just blanking. Whatever. Line movement. This is where this game gets really interesting for tonight. So the look-ahead line, Tennessee's a 2-point favorite over the Colts. They're at home. Okay. Relatively even matched teams, both competing for the AFC South crown. So that's where we're at. Tennessee goes out and they beat the Chicago Bears by a touchdown, cover the spread. The Colts go out and lose to the Baltimore Ravens. And they don't look very good in the process. Rivers looks old. He looks terrible. So line comes back out, Tennessee -2. So no changes. It's 2 yesterday morning. I'm writing it up for ESPN Chalk. Submit the pick, which I'll get to in a minute because it's going to be in here as well. And by last night, early this morning, because I was doing a radio hit where I was talking about this, the game had plummeted all the way to pick 'em. And now it is Colts -1 or 1.5, depending on where you look. 3.5 point move through the key number of not through the key number, but through 0, making the Titans go from a home favorite to a home dog. It's been Colts money pouring in like crazy. Bookmakers, I know one, Chris Andrews at the South Point, great dude, great human being. If you're ever in town and you go down there, ask to meet him. He's a great guy. Wrote a great book too. I think it's called Then One Day, Stories as a bookmaker. Great stuff. He tweeted something out a little while ago about how he's wondering if Tennessee money is going to start showing up. Like if this moves enough that Tennessee money will start coming in. But it's been all Colts money. That's where we're at. The total, it's been under money. Total was 50.5. It's down to 48.5. So you're seeing lots of Colts money and you're seeing some under money. So that's where we are right now. I've got 3 picks on the game tonight, and then we'll jump to college football. Number 1, I am playing the Colts at -1. I see enough -1s that it's pretty widespread. We can go with that. I will be playing the Colts. So let's start with Phillip Rivers, who has been very questionable this season. Rivers has played, I think it's something like 7 games. When he plays a bottom 12 defense, a defense that ranks 20th or worse in terms of total defense, this is where he's at right now. So basically the point I'm trying to get to you as a bottom third defense, a defense that isn't that great. He's completing 72% of his passes, which is outstanding, averaging 278 passing yards per game, 9 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, quarterback rating of 98. So Phillip Rivers against bad defenses plays very well. Phillip Rivers against good defenses, teams that rank in the top 10. He goes from 72% completions down to 57%, from 278 yards a game to 208 yards per game, from 9 TDs and 6 picks to 1 TD and 1 pick. Quarterback rating falls from 98 to 72. He's older, way past his prime, but he's still good enough to play well, probably above average, better than serviceable against bad defenses. He's got good weapons around him. He's got good offensive line. He's got a running game. He's got some good young wide receivers. But if he's going to go against a better defense, specifically a fast defense like we saw with Baltimore, he's dead. He can't keep up with it. That's what Father Time does. It comes for all of us from what I've been told. So what I'm getting at is Tennessee ranks 25th in total defense. They're not a good defense. No Adoree Jackson tonight, as we talked about, laying it with the Colts. I like Phillip Rivers in the situation, number 1. Number 2, the Colts bring a very good defense to the table. The question is how good. The numbers are all there. 1st in total defense, 2nd in opponent yards per play, 3rd in rush defense, 3rd in scoring defense. That sounds outstanding heading into week 10. But remember, a lot of their schedule has come against bad football teams. They haven't played a lot of great football teams. So some of this could be puffed up. But I would say that even if the schedule was, say, league average, let's say right now it's an easier than average schedule, and they were playing a league average schedule, they'd still be top 10 in most of these categories, maybe top 5. They're still good. These numbers, these rankings make them look great. I think they're good, and they have great numbers because of who they played. So I'll take them tonight. I'm wondering if home field advantage even exists. I know there will be some fans there tonight. Entering week 10, road teams are 67 and 65. 67, 65 and 1 because the Eagles and Bengals were nice enough to grace us with a tie. 67, 65 and 1. Straight up. Against the spread, road teams, 71 and 62. There you have it. Also, when it comes to betting the Colts, I haven't liked the Titans for most of the year. I played them last week, but I don't like them that much. I think they live on the edge, and like Seattle, I expect the bottom to fall out. Not that they'll become terrible, but that they're not going to be one of these elite teams, and you started to see it. Last 4 games for Tennessee, they beat 2-6 Houston in overtime. They lost to the Steelers. They lost to the Bengals. And then they beat Chicago by 7 last week. Right? So there you have it. I don't like Tennessee all that much. This line move is crazy, but I am going to play the Colts tonight. That's pick number 1. Pick number 2, 2 props on this game. 1, those who watched this stream last year know that I lost every time I bet this. Probably. I may have won once. I'm going under Derrick Henry, 84.5 rushing yards. Tiger missed a birdie putt. That doesn't help me. I need Tiger to like quadruple bogey, chip guy. I need him to quadruple bogey. I need Jason Day to hole in one a par 5. That's what I need right now. Missing a birdie, maybe it's the start of a disaster, but do I want to be the asshole on YouTube yelling and screaming for Woods to have a terrible round and collapse? Yeah, it'd be great for my one bet, but the whole world wants to see him advance. I probably shouldn't even admit it I made this bet because everyone wants to root for him. Hell, I want to root for him. 2020 could use some Tiger Woods. So going under Derrick Henry, 84.5 rushing yards. He's missed this mark in 2 of 3 games. 2 of his last 3 games, he has been under 84.5 rushing yards. Now, I shopped around to find this. William Hill, New Jersey has 84.5. Some of them have lower numbers. So if you have the ability to shop. Offensive line has had some issues. Taylor Lewan, offensive tackle, was lost for the year. There's some other guys that are banged up there. And Indy, number 3 against the run this season, 83.6 yards per game they're giving up. Now, I went against Henry a few times last year and got burned in the process. And maybe I do tonight, but I think that number's a little high. I think because of the offensive line and some of the injuries there, trending down a little bit. It's Thursday, so it's a quick turnaround from that Bears game, which was definitely physical. And you're going against you're going against a very physical Colts team as well, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I saw someone mention Darius Leonard in there. fantastic linebacker. That's bet number 3, over 7.5 tackles for Leonard. Leonard has only played in 6 games this season due to injury. He's gone over 7.5 tackles in 4 of those games. He's actually averaging 8.5 tackles per game on the year. How about that? Point I'm getting at with him is that he trends well in this direction. You know Tennessee's going to want to run the ball. Leonard's going to be able to grab some tackles that way. The key to this is that the Colts don't get up by so many, which would be great for one bet. It'd actually be great for all the bets, because if the Colts get up big, then it's also hurtful to Henry because they're not going to be able to run the ball. But if they do, then Leonard's not going to be able to rack up as many tackles in the running game, which is where the primary source of his tackles come from. Very convoluted, but you see what I'm getting at. So those are the 3 picks for tonight's game. We're going Colts -1. We're going Derrick Henry under 84.5 rushing yards. We're going Darius Leonard, Colts linebacker, over 7.5 tackles. College football. First one out of the gate is Boise and Colorado State over 61.5. That game's tonight. So this has moved up a little bit. I want to make sure I have the right number. 61.5 is where we're at pretty much across the board. I see a 61. I'm not going to go with that. 61.5. 61.5. That's where we're at. We're going over. I got some good notes on this. I took some good notes on this one. So Steve Addazio, the head coach of Colorado State. This is going to be the 3rd Colorado State game. I'm going to have bet all 3 Colorado State games. Was on him 2 weeks ago, lost. Was on him last week, won. Betting the over here. Addazio, the new head coach, was screwing around in game 1 against Fresno where we got burned, which kind of started this whole cold streak. He went with both quarterbacks. Todd Centeio and Patrick O'Brien both got burned in that game. He realized in game 2 that instead of screwing around with the 17 points and the 51% completions of shuffling them in and out, he went with O'Brien against Wyoming. And guess what? 34 points, 69% completions. So stick with O'Brien and everything should be fine here, at least in terms of being able to score. Remember, Boise just gave up 51 points to BYU last week. Colorado State's not BYU, all right? But Boise's defense isn't exactly elite. And this is Boise's 3rd game in 13 days. 3rd game in 13 days. They're going to be tired on defense. There's going to be an opportunity for Colorado State to put up their points. Now, on the flip side, Colorado State's pass defense has been terrible. If Boise comes out tonight and tries to run the ball, they are missing the boat, because Colorado State can defend the run a little bit, but they don't defend the pass well at all. You can tear these guys up. Opposing QBs are completing 66% of their passes for 334 yards a game, while averaging almost 10 yards per attempt against Colorado State's defense. Translation, throw the ball. Now, Boise has some issues. The top 2 quarterbacks were dinged up. We don't want to see the 3rd string kid in there. We want to see Bachmeier in there. He might go tonight. Even if the backup goes, he should be in decent shape. We're going over 61.5. I think Colorado State's going to find a way to get theirs up there, to be honest with you. They're catching 14.5 here, which leads me to believe one of the healthy quarterbacks is going to be playing. One of the better quarterbacks is going to be healthy enough to play, and then Boise State should get theirs. Over 61.5. That's number 1 for college football. Number 2, back to the well with West Virginia. I've ridden them the last 2 weeks. They beat Kansas State outright and covered, and then last week they lost to Texas, but they covered. They got a great defense, man. West Virginia has a great defense. The kids rap, they tackle, they know what they're doing. They smother. I know they're coming off that Texas loss. Some things went against them late in that game. I'll take that defense. They're hosting TCU this weekend. They're laying 3. I'm not overly impressed with TCU. Give me West Virginia. I hope they're not flat after losing to Texas last week, but these guys can play some defense. I've been very impressed with this team. West Virginia -3 is pick number 2. Pick number 3, Cal, +3.5 over Arizona State. I wanted to play Cal against Washington last week. COVID situation, they didn't play. Teams that are making their debut, their first game of the year, going against teams that have already played, huge advantage to the team making their debut. You wouldn't think that's the case because of the reps for the other team. No, it was like 19-5 against the spread a week or 2 ago with this stat. It's an incredible stat. Colorado State fit the bill against Fresno State 2 weeks ago. I talked about it there. That one lost. So it's not perfect, but it's a winning trend this year. Maybe it's because you get an opportunity to watch tape on the other team. Well, they don't get to watch tape on you. But I'm going to tell you what I like about Cal. Number 1, 18 starters are back, including 10 on offense. Number 2, Justin Wilcox is a hell of a head coach. He's going to get a better gig at some point in the future. I don't think Cal's going to be able to hold on to him. Year 1, 5-7. Year 2, 7-6. Last season, 8-5. They've gotten better every year. Went to a bowl last year and won it. Just the second bowl win for this program since 2008. The guy can coach. Lots of starters are back. Oregon's a home game for them this year. They're 30-1 to win the Pac-12. Just saying. But I like them. They're catching 3.5 against Arizona State. Arizona State had USC dead to rights last week and completely blew the game. You going to be able to get up for this game after that? I don't know. We're taking Cal plus 3.5. So to revisit the college picks, Boise, Colorado State over 61.5. West Virginia -3 over TCU. Cal plus 3.5 over Arizona State. ESPN Plus, Saturday night, Terence Crawford off an 11-month layoff. Everyone's off a layoff these days, except UFC fighters. They're fighting every month. He's going to be taking on Kell Brook. I don't know much about Kell Brook. I've been doing some research, and he's fought big fights. So he's got 3. He beat Showtime Sean Porter and then got knocked out by both Errol Spence and Triple G. But he's won 3 fights since. He's working his way back to respectability. He's a tough out. He's a great counterpuncher. The bet I'm going to make here is Crawford under 9.5 rounds. That's what I'm going to play. It's -115. I think Crawford may struggle in the early rounds. He's coming off the layoff. A lot of pressure to always look great in these fights because he can't get big fights. He can't get the Spence fight. He can't get any of these guys because none of them want to fight him. Pacquiao wants nothing to do with him. None of these guys want to fight him because they know how nasty he is. Terence Crawford is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the game today. No one wants to fight him because they don't want to give up their straps. You can see why. But he can't get big fights. So he's got to show up at these fights and annihilate these guys, or people think he's soft and he's slipping. I'm not saying it's going to be an early knockout. He's going to figure Brook out early, and then he's going to knock him out before we get to the 10th round. And that's what I need, 9.5 rounds. So we're going under on Terence Crawford. Going to be great to see him back in the ring. Fight's completely free. It's on ESPN+. So to recap all the picks, Colts -1 tonight over the Titans. Derrick Henry under 84.5 rushing yards. Darius Leonard over 7.5 tackles. That's tonight. Boise State, Colorado State. That's tonight. Over 61.5. Saturday, laying the 3 with West Virginia over TCU. Taking the 3.5 with Cal over Arizona State. And then finally, Saturday night, ESPN Plus, Terence Crawford by stoppage. KO, TKO, whatever it is, DQ. He gets that done in under 9.5 rounds. Or no, it doesn't have to even be him. What the hell am I talking about? It's just under 9.5 rounds. I'm so convinced. Crawford's -1,500 at some spots, -2,000 at the Westgate. So if it's going to get done in under 9.5 rounds, I'm betting him. But if for some reason Brook knocks him out in the second, we win there too. It's just under 9.5 rounds. I don't know why it took me so long to get that going. All right. It's been a pleasure. 9-35 over the last 2 weeks. That is an incredibly sick run. Remember, we have the Bubba Watson pick pending. I have to keep reminding of that because I don't want anyone to think I'm cooking the books. But that's it. Next stream is going to be Sunday morning, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. We'll do the whole NFL card. Then we're back Sunday afternoon at the conclusion of the last afternoon game to immediately preview the Sunday night game, which I believe is pretty good. Who do we have? Baltimore, New England. Yeah, just keep putting New England in prime time. Thanks, everybody. You guys are awesome. The over-under in the Arizona State Cal game, I'm not messing with that yet. I want to see how Garbers looks at QB for Cal, but I do like Cal in that game. No thoughts on the total. Derrick Henry can take on the best of them. Yes, he can. All right. Good stuff. Go Irish. Be careful. 13.5 against Boston College. Just saying. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. I appreciate you coming. Goodbye.